Hey everyone, and welcome to MacTuts Plus. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you a few ways to perform colour isolation. This will be done within Apple's Aperture software. First, launch Aperture and load a suitable picture with plenty of colour. Here I have a picture of some flowers that I'll be using to convert to black and white before trying to bring the colour of the flower head back through. Select the Adjustments tab on the left hand side. Then, add Adjustment, Black and White. This will convert the image into black and white. It's worth noting that you can control how this black and white appearance works using the red, green and blue sliders. Within Aperture, all adjustments can be painted in or erased from certain parts of the image. To do this, click on the cog icon and select Brush Black and White Away. A separate toolbox will appear with a brush, feather and eraser icon, as well as options for brush size, softness and strength. We can paint in a black and white effect using the brush icon, or with the eraser icon, remove the black and white effect. This is exactly what we're going to do by erasing the black and white effect that's currently applied to the picture. With the effect selected, start drawing over a specific area of your photo. Here you can see I'm drawing over the flower heads and it's removing the black and white effect. There's an option for Detect Edges that's enabled by default. Aperture is quite clever in detecting whether you're coming to the edge of something like a flower head and it's going to start painting on something else. Aperture will try and keep it all within the lines. So if you've never been any good at a colouring book, Aperture is a big help. You can fine-tune the brush head on the fly and alter its size by using 2-finger swipe on a trackpad, or if you've got a scroll wheel or scroll motion on your mouse, by adjusting that. Here I've been able to go over the lines, so I'm going to remove this and I'm going to paint the black and white effect back in. Unfortunately, the loop tool within Aperture is not fully live. At this stage, I'm not going to be too neat about it. Now onto the second one. I've made the brush head much bigger so I can paint a bigger area. As you can see, the effect is really coming through. Despite this having a number of colours and a number of different edges, Detect Edges is working very well to keep me within the lines. You may find you need to paint over certain areas several times, as Aperture isn't clever enough to detect whether it's an edge or whether it's a fold or a crease in the flower head. With the strength removed right down, I'm still getting some of the effect, but it's far more muted. As you can see, the effect is very prominent, and already the picture is looking great. Now I'm going to remove the black and white adjustment completely and bring the picture back to full colour. Another way we can adjust the colour in the picture is by using the colour adjustment. This will allow us to adjust an entire colour range on the fly without having to paint in or erase a certain effect. This can be very useful if an image contains lots of colour but is very hard to differentiate between, or it's very hard to paint. Using the colour picker and selecting a colour that closely resembles what we're going to adjust, we can fine-tune it and select the exact shade of yellow. This is displayed within the loop tool, and as you can see, the hue level on this flower head is very similar to the hue level on the other flower head. Having selected that, we can start to use the saturation level. And now that we've picked the colour, if we adjust the saturation levels, the picture changes automatically. This alters the colour of the entire image, but only for a specific colour range. With this effect, we can desaturate certain colours while leaving others intact. We can also adjust the luminance and the range. So after a few moments of playing with the sliders, we can get what appears to be white roses from a picture that was originally yellow. We can toggle the adjustment at any time. And if we need to, we can brush the colour in or brush it away. Now I don't want the background to be affected by the colours that we've changed, and I've noticed it has been, so I'm going to brush the effect away so that remains regardless of what we change. As it's in the background and out of focus, we don't need to be anywhere near as neat as something that is in the foreground. Now, whenever I change the saturation or the luminance, the background doesn't change. If we start to adjust the hue, we can really change the effect and the appearance of these flowers. We can go from green to red. All of this is accomplished without changing any other colours within the image. By specifying only a certain colour, we can ensure that we get some great colour isolation effects while leaving the rest of the colour within the image intact. We can toggle the effect at any time using the checkbox, and this is a good comparison to go back and forth between before and after the effect. Next, I'm going to make these leaves a little bit greener. By selecting green and being more accurate with our colour picker, we can really increase the saturation and luminance of these leaves to give them the appearance of being much healthier than they may appear to be. We can also adjust the hue, but as green and yellow are quite close on a colour wheel, you'll notice that there may be some overlap and it may start to interfere with other colours. It can be a fine balance, and you may spend a few minutes adjusting sliders and switching between colours. You wouldn't believe this is the same image that we were started with, especially as we've only really made one adjustment to it, the colour adjustments. But this powerful tool alone can make it much easier to change colours than it ever has been. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our tutorials over at Mac Tuts Plus at mac.tutsplus.com.